So Ellen, Simmons has just launched DataStream. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and we're very excited. DataStream is a new product offering that allows us to provide weekly insights to the marketplace on the full range of the consumer experience. So if you remember what I had said before, Simmons has its national consumer study where we survey consumers, 25 consumers throughout the year, and we release and report that study on a quarterly basis. DataStream enables us to leverage using basically the same survey. We're able to report on approximately 40,000 different consumer variables updated weekly through a new web-based delivery platform. And that's important. We went down this path for a number of different reasons. What we're hearing from clients and in the marketplace is the desire to have faster, fresher information on changing consumer behavior, and that was really spurred by the economic recession. We had clients calling us asking, what can you tell us? How are consumers going to behave? How potentially are their brand buying behaviors going to shift? What are their attitudes? Will my media plan be different, as a result of the impact of the economy? And after speaking to our strategic client council and a number of different constituents in the marketplace, I think we also underestimated the appetite simply for consumer trends and insight. So what we were able to do, uniquely able to do, because of the way Simmons does collect its survey information, we were able to provide data to our clients, updated weekly, as I indicated before, and they have the ability to define any number of consumer targets within the DataStream offering and conduct a week-by-week analysis of that particular consumer target. So, for example, a client can run a weekly trend estimate going back with 2 years of data. So what's available with each base subscription is 2 years of historical Simmons information. And they can look at a consumer target either weekly, on a 4-week, 8-week, or 12-week interval. And so what happens is now you don't just have a snapshot of behavior, a snapshot in time of consumer behavior. What we have is a long-term view of how consumer behavior might be changing, and on a go-forward basis.
So because you can trend this data, and because it has a certain amount of recency, could an advertiser monitor how their buy is optimized and how it's pacing with a certain degree of certainty?
Yes, it's a good question. So some of the ways that our clients are using DataStream is to gain a better understanding of, frankly, how they're performing, how their brands are performing. In this case, a brand could be a traditional advertiser's brand or a media brand. And they are able to, for example, a media company can examine a particular advertising campaign for one of their clients that was featured on their media property. And because the time intervals are so granular, what they can now do is obtain a pre-post campaign analysis, looking at the effectiveness of a particular campaign with their brand, on their brand, or within the media property. And that's very powerful because syndicated research tools, of the nature of Simmons, have not been able to potentially be sensitive enough to detect those types of shifts in consumer behavior in response to advertising. And as a result of having this weekly insight, a client can now look at a particular campaign flight and look at the impact of that flight, as I said before, on consumer behavior. And that simply doesn't exist in the syndicated world. Most of that information, whether it's campaign effectiveness measurement, most of that information tends to be done on a custom basis. Those types of studies can be quite expensive, quite costly, and also take a fair amount of time to execute. So the beauty of an offering like DataStream, it enables our clients to not just look at their one campaign, but multiple campaigns, and more importantly, their competition. So now they have a very robust view of how they're performing within the marketplace vis-a-vis the competition.
Ellen, how large is the sample on a daily or a weekly basis, and how is the questionnaire fielded?
It's a great question. Let me give you a little bit more background about how DataStream is created. First of all, the survey information is the same information that is collected to produce our Simmons National Consumer Study. And where the National Consumer Study is updated and released to the marketplace quarterly, DataStream is updated weekly. So what we have done is, by leveraging technology and developing a number of techniques for dynamic on-the-fly weighting, we enable our clients to obtain weekly updates through a web-based delivery platform. As I think I might have mentioned before, so we've developed a new platform to also support this service. In terms of sample, weekly, the sample size will vary. So a client has the opportunity to conduct an analysis utilizing either a weekly, a 4-week, 8-week, or a 12-week moving estimate. And as that interval increases, then the sample size goes up as well. And it really depends on the target. So for example, a weekly sample could run on average about 500, whereas the larger intervals will run up to about a 6,000 in tab. But what we have shown is that very discrete targets can be analyzed reliably within DataStream. And all the checks and balances are also built in with the service. So if a client is selecting a target that lacks stability, then a user warning will go up, and it's recommended that a larger interval is used, so on and so forth. Also, because there are trend lines and estimates over time, the end user will be alerted that if there's any one particular week in the analysis or in the estimate that falls slightly short of the recommended sample size, then that trend line is color coded in a different color. So checks and balances are built into the system to make sure that the end user is aware that they have the ample enough sample to conduct their analysis.